Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 7. And this is going to be my trailer breakdown for Episode 9 for this season. The episode that marks exactly, halfway through the season, the midway point. And this episode is called Timeless. But of course, let's watch the trailer and then we'll come back to it.
She manipulated me just like she's been doing.
Does her life not matter at all?
She's not a person, Iris. I'm supposed to protect lives, not destroy them.
This doesn't feel right. I won't help you kill again.
Oh, my beautiful boy. You have no choice.
So yeah, interesting trailer to say the least. But of course, last episode really only had the last scene really set up this episode. The majority of it was the fallout from episode 7, which had Frost arrested thanks to Kristen Kramer's prodding and probing, and we saw the sentencing of Frost, and we weren't too sure exactly what was going to happen. They chucked in a nice story there where Kristen Kramer was pretty much trying to make Frost or Killer Frost an example so she could push this big metahuman, curing thing or taking away powers from those that she doesn't think deserves them or aren't like heroes and everything like that. But of course, Frost doesn't allow that. She takes the maximum life sentence, which doesn't allow the curing thing to be used. And it's going to be interesting to see if we hang out with Frost again. I don't know where that's going. The only thing that we can assume that might happen is that Frost might interact with Chillblaine in Iron Heights because we know he's there. She's heading there as well. So let's see what happens there. But of course, the episode ended off with what was her name? Alexa Rivera had a bit of a brain fart there. Alexa Rivera willingly going to Star Labs to get some testing done, and well, she starts to freak out a bit and ends up with the Speed Force attacking her, pretty much getting some power stuff going on, and the Speed Force pretty much betraying Barry, and that pretty much sets up this episode. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But of course, before we break down the actual trailer, we're going to quickly go over the synopsis or description for this episode, as it does give us a bit more context to what's going on, and also tells us some stuff, that actually isn't even in the trailer as well. But of course, before that, throughout the video, be sure let me know your various opinions, thoughts, theories, everything like that in the comment section down below. I'm always curious to hear what you guys have to say. What are you looking forward to? Let me know down there. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support for the channel and the video, and you're just looking forward to this episode. After a devastating betrayal, Barry turns to Timeless Wells for help. Meanwhile, Iris leads Team Citizen down a dangerous road in search of answers, and Cisco confides his biggest fear to Camilla. So yeah, the first thing, we're just going to jump straight into it because it's not in the trailer, but it's in the synopsis. Timeless / original Harrison Wells, whatever you want to call him, he is back this episode. Obviously, as it pretty much just said, he's not featured in the trailer at all. That could maybe mean that it's spoilers for whatever he does or is involved in or how he's brought back into it. I'm curious whether he just shows up in Star Labs or whether Barry has to travel back in time to get him, because we know that he's sort of like reliving his life with his wife over and over and over again. So why would he randomly come back to present day? So I'd assume that Barry goes back there to grab him and say, hey, need your help. Because it does say that Barry turns to Timeless Wells, not the other way around. So I'd assume that's the case. Obviously, it's going to be weird seeing Tom Cavanaugh on screen again because of the news that's come out where he's leaving. And he's only really been in 2 episodes properly this season. So, yeah, it's just going to be interesting and just a bit weird to see him there. And also, it's just going to be interesting in general to see how they build his character up to where he leaves, because Cisco, it seems, will have a decent story, I guess, but I don't know how they're going to use Timeless Wells consistently, where when, Tom Cavanaugh leaves, it feels fulfilled, if that makes sense. I'm intrigued to see what they do, because I don't really know how they're going to do it at this moment in time, at least. But anyway, let's move into the actual trailer itself, because it's called a trailer breakdown, so let's break down the bloody trailer. She manipulated me just like she has been doing. So this is Barry talking, and it's him pretty much, or finally, realizing that he has been played the entire time by this Speed Force entity. And like that whole thing at the end of last episode wasn't just this like spur of the moment thing randomly from the Speed Force, where they were like, you know what, I'm just randomly going to attack some people now. It's all been building up to this, and just last episode in general, even before that final scene, the Speed Force had just been like getting really antsy and pushy and everything like that when they were sort of, seeking the the seismic isotopes and they found Alexa, you know, she just was just off the rails and just pushing and just wasn't acting normal. Like, she wasn't acting undercover at all. Like, she was pretty much saying, hey, I'm suspicious, watch out for me. Now, it is going to be interesting to see just what the Speed Force does in general this episode and whether there is more manipulating going on. I'm not talking about Barry specifically, but people outside of Barry as well. I'm not so sure how far that would go, but maybe she'll, you know, try and do that more and more. And she'll be like, no, I'm not evil. I'm the Speed Force. Look, I'm Nora. I'm Nora Allen. I look like Nora Allen. She might keep, you know, playing that off. I don't know. We've been calling it for ages, and it's been sort of obvious over the past few episodes. So let's see how far she gets. But one thing I'm very curious about is whether Barry goes in search of the other Force holders to protect them, as well as help defeat the Speed Force eventually. I'm not saying it's going to happen in episode 9, but whether it happens in episode 10, 11. 11's meant to be the final episode of this storyline. It could be 12. It's meant to be 11. So I'm curious whether Barry goes in search of them or they come to him, or it's just a random meeting and it's not really intentional. I'm curious to see how the story ends and just what happens. Like, if they defeat the Speed Force, what does that mean for Barry's powers? Like, what does that mean? Or is there going to be like an overlying force? Is there something else that's controlling the Speed Force? So what we're seeing the Speed Force do, not only in last episode, what we'll see them do in this episode, episode 9, but you know, just in previous episodes, hasn't been them willingly doing it. It's been someone corrupting them or controlling them in general. I'm curious to see what happens there, because I just don't know what the fallout would be if they defeat the Speed Force. What does that mean for Barry as well as other speedsters? Now, one thing is that we have like Iris almost like defending the Speed Force in this episode. Based off the trailer, at least it looks like that, and I really hope it is. And I really hope Iris isn't defending the Speed Force in this episode. There's already been weird stuff in the part, like in the previous episodes, and even I think even in the trailer she says Nora. Like, calling the Speed Force Nora has been weird. Inviting the Speed Force into their house has been weird. I really hope Iris isn't defending her. I don't know, just like, hopefully, just like for the sake of not making Iris look silly. We know Iris is smart, so hopefully they don't make Iris do that and defend her. Maybe it's just like a little one-worded comment and it's out of context in the trailer. But please, let's just hope they don't have her defend the Speed Force, because, I mean, she just tried to kill you last episode, Iris. She just tried to kill you. This doesn't feel right. And this is said by Cisco, as we then see someone who I think is Barry pick up a completely messed up tachyon device. I can't really tell if it's like the wires within it, like, so like the shell on the outside has come off, or it's like corroded. I'm not too sure. It's one of the two, but it's a tachyon device that's completely messed up. Not too sure what happened to it. Now, obviously, the synopsis does talk about Timeless Walls returning, as you know we talked about earlier, and he comes in to help. Could this be something associated with that? Is this what Timeless Walls is sort of saying? Okay, well, Barry, we'll do this. We'll do something with the tachyon device, and it doesn't work, and then it looks like this afterwards, or is it something else? I'm very curious to see what happens here in general. Obviously, they talk about Cisco in the synopsis confiding his biggest fear to Camilla. I have a feeling that's just going to be like a one-scene thing. They just chucked in the synopsis. I don't think it's that big of a, you know, draw for the episode, if that makes sense, or a big plot point for the episode. But yeah, it's going to be interesting just to see how Timeless Walls works into this episode and the episodes to come, and how he helps Barry out. I won't help you kill again. Now, this is Barry, you know, telling the Speed Force this, but she responds in a pretty menacing manner that he has like no choice. And she even throws in the whole like beautiful boy line as well. So is Barry like pretty much being forced to help the Speed Force do what she needs to do due to his connection to the Speed Force? Like, could she do that? Could she like literally make Barry like, look, you might not like what's happening, but you know, I'm sort of like your Lord and Savior. I'm in control of you. I am you. Like, I'm this, you are as much a Speed Force as I am. So I wonder if that could be pretty messed up, to be completely honest. And it would sort of put Barry, like tie Barry's hands behind his back. Like, you have to be up to other people, maybe the other Force holders, to help out there. So that would be pretty weird. Or just Barry wouldn't be able to use his speed. I mean, we've already done that a good amount of times. I think we've had like a good amount of episodes already this season where Barry hasn't had his speed or had limited speed or something like that. So I don't know. I'm curious to see where they go down that route, because I know what Barry does. I don't know how Barry can necessarily use his speed against the Speed Force, because couldn't she just like cut his powers off, or at least limit them to where he's not that fast at all? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And the last thing to bring up from the trailer is that we do see Iris. It's like, this is a really quick shot as well, but we do see Iris and Team Citizen. I think it's Camilla we can see in the getting out of the back, but they're getting out of this red car here on an investigation. That's mentioned in the synopsis. It says Iris leads Team Citizen down a dangerous road in search of answers. I am curious to see whether this is connected or associated with the Force storyline, or it's something else that's brought up in this episode. Is it attached to Kristen Kramer? I mean, she left at the end of last episode, and I don't know if she's going to come back into the show at all. I just say it's connected to the Forces, but then again, I don't know. Kristen Kramer could still be involved in the show, and it could be associated with that. So I'll probably say Kristen Kramer, because Iris, they never really kept playing on that whole like Iris being suspicious of her. So maybe. Yeah, I'm going to say Kristen Kramer. That's where my money. Sorry if I can speak English today. That's where my money's going to go, because I don't know how it would be, at least directly, them going after the Forces. So I'm going to say Kristen Kramer. There, lock it in. Who wants to be a millionaire? But yeah, so that's it from the trailer. There is no promo images as of yet. If they do come out and there's anything of note or interest to talk about from those, I'll put them in another video. Sometimes there are, sometimes there isn't. It's really a flip of the coin. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, guys, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on this. Do you have any theories heading into it, might I say? What do you think Timeless World is going to do? Do you think all this stuff with the Speed Force is just going to hit the fan and go absolutely crazy by the end of this episode? It's very important to remember the episodes after this the episode after this is Family Matters Part 1. So it's the first part of the finale for this storyline. So you'd have to assume by the end of this episode, things are crazy. So let's see what happens. But yeah, let me know all your theories down there. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.